Rich Rodriguez continues to have a hard time getting this coaching staff nailed down because now Blaine Stewart, off to the NFL, just can't get right.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. This is Locked On West Virginia. Thanks for being here, guys. I can't thank you enough. As always, going to be brought to you by TurboTax this time. Guys, are you ready for stress-free taxes and the most money back guaranteed? Well, you head over to turbotax.com today and get matched with your expert. It's been a rough day so far. Hopefully we don't end up with 3 losses by the day's end. On this episode of Locked On West Virginia, we got quite a bit to cover. Jam-packed episode, honestly. Here's a brief recap or preview of what's coming up. We're going to dive into the shocking departures of Blaine Stewart and Aiden Buchanan. 2 big losses for the Mountaineers, one on the recruiting front, one in the coaching realm. And what does it mean for the program? Then we're going to switch gears and go to Hoops Talk and talk about the Big 12 tournament game versus Colorado. So stick around, guys, so we can talk about that, and I'll give you my full plan for the game and prediction in the third segment. So stick around for that as well. Obviously, today wasn't expecting this. To be honest, this is really deep into camp. Blaine Stewart, as an inside receivers coach, is making over $200,000 a year, so which is good. Wasn't expecting a loss there. You know, obviously, Blaine Stewart is mostly known for being Bill Stewart's son, and I think that played a part here, from what I'm told. You know, one thing Blaine has figured out, especially since Rich Rod has come back, and this is just from what I've been told on the inside, Blaine wants to forge his own path, right? Under Rich Rod specifically, kind of like his dad was, he's going to be known as Bill Stewart's son. And doing this thing, and he was already doing well in the NFL before. I think making the move now is better than waiting until everybody, all the positions are solidified. They still got enough time to bring another inside receivers guy or promote somebody in and try to fill the void that he's going to leave behind. But it's going to be a big void because he is a West Virginia guy. His dad is the great Bill Stewart. He's been here obviously for the Neil Brown duration of his tenure as a tight ends coach. And he did a good job there. And then by all accounts was doing a really good job as the inside receivers coach. Also a really good recruiter. And he was one of the few guys on staff that were going to recruit any position because of he's a very charismatic guy. You know, he's just like his dad was. He's very good at talking to people, comes by that honest. And Blaine grew up in our program. Like so many of us wanted him to succeed here at home. So for me, I consider this to be heartbreaking news. I do. I'm heartbroken over it because I feel like Blaine had a lot to offer the staff. Rich Rod pointed him out several times. But I also understand needing to forge your own path. And for better for worse, it's a big loss, man. I don't think we're going to lose anybody over it, but we could. There's a few guys on the roster from the portal and in recruiting that were here recruited by Blaine. So it would take me time to go through and look and see exactly who those people are, but maybe that's something I'll do in the next couple of days. See all the players that are on staff and in the portal that Blaine brought here. But yeah, so it's a big loss. Like I said, I think he did us proud. Obviously the tight ends room was good while he was here. He was a big reason Colt Taylor did as well as he did, I feel like. And, he brought in Genross here and other guys. So, and like I said, the thing with Bill Stewart and all that hanging over, it's understandable. I wish him the best. I think he'll be a good NFL coach. I think he'll do a really good job at that level. I think, there's a reason he has been wanted at that level for as long as he has. And there was a reason why he was already there when he came to West Virginia. So it's got to be for some kind of pretty good position, right? A positional coaching job in the Power Four is pretty valuable. $225,000 a year, nothing to sneeze at. In the NFL, I don't know how it works, but I would assume you've got to be at least a positional assistant or a position coach to make over a couple $100,000 a year. I would assume, whether that's like a special teams guy or what. It'll be interesting to see where he lands. Maybe he's just willing to start anywhere, or maybe he just likes the NFL game better now that college is what it is. There's a lot of reasons, but like I said, the number one reason I was told anyway, and take it for what you will, the reason I was told was because of the Bill Stewart stuff. So it is what it is, guys. Wish Blaine the very, very best. I think he's going to do good wherever he goes. But he wasn't the only loss today. West Virginia loses a big one, guys, and literally in every sense of the word, big. Aiden Buchanan, if you'll remember, we were so lucky to get a couple guys from Our Lady of Good Counsel in Maryland to West Virginia. Well, they're both gone now. One's at Virginia Tech. Now Aiden Buchanan is off to North Carolina. Report comes out today. By the way, the Blaine Stewart stuff was reported by Mike Casaza. Meant to mention that sooner. Mike Casaza broke that news earlier. I've seen this a couple places. I don't know exactly who broke it. Probably could have been Casaza on this too. Aiden Buchanan, obviously, was with West Virginia since, I want to say, February 24, something like that. It's been since last year. There was some speculation after the Matt Moore loss, whether or not he could be going somewhere else, but he reaffirmed. And then now Bill Belichick comes to North Carolina, and they're signing dudes left and right. This is a 6'8", guys, 325-pound prospect guy that has a ton of upside. Like, look, if you go look at his junior year highlights from Good Counsel, they're super, super impressive. I thought he was going to be turned into a really good player based on what Matt Moore has done, right? With West Virginia, from a developmental standpoint. So that's just my opinion, and I really felt like he was going to be good. But unfortunately, we don't get to see that play out. And this is a big loss because we're already a little bit what I would consider to be short on the O-line this coming into this year. Rich Rod talked about that today. The O-line hasn't been somebody stupid in the comments. For those of you listening on podcasts, somebody put, he must have been a TikTok dancer. That's funny. Yeah, most likely he made, he wasn't on TikTok. He was dancing on TikTok. Two different things. But at the end of the day, guys, I think the reason he decided to leave was just because of the Matt Moore thing. His really good friend, obviously, in Kyle Altuner, now at Virginia Tech, they came in together. There was really no reason for him to stick around once those two guys left, other than probably testing the water, calling in, seeing how things were going, right? And either he doesn't like how this offensive line is being coached, or maybe it's more of what North Carolina has to offer under Belichick now. And look, if you're an offensive lineman and you get to say, look, I was coached by Bill Belichick for 4 years, that's a huge coup, guys. That's literally, if we had Rick Trickett, I don't think we lose any of these guys that we lost. I'm talking about almost any of them. But unfortunately, that's just not what happened. That's not how it played out. So, frustrating, but nonetheless happening. So 2 big losses. Let me know in the comments how you guys feel about it. I would be curious to know, how big of a loss do you think these are? Because I think the Buchanan loss is big, but it wouldn't have been, we're never going to know how big it could have been. Maybe in a couple of years, we'll see him as it playing really well for North Carolina and think, damn, that could have been such a big deal. The Blaine Stewart loss that's right meow. That is right meow happening. And inside receiver is a big spot in this offense. He knows how to coach it too. Been coaching those inside guys and tight ends for a while. But it frees up a couple $100,000 for Rich Rod to go out and get a good coach, guys. So we'll see. Maybe we'll get somebody better in return. You never know what you have until you have it. We'll see. Let's go to a quick break, and on the other side, we'll talk basketball. We tip off in 30 minutes. I'm excited about this game today. Stick around. This is Locked On West Virginia. And, of course, this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by Intuit TurboTax. Taxes used to be wondering, waiting, and worrying if you were going to get any money back at all. And then waiting and wondering and worrying some more. Now taxes is matching with a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes as soon as today. An expert who gives your taxes their undivided attention as they work on your return, while you get real-time updates on their progress so you can focus on your day. An expert who will do and try everything and make every deduction possible, even every form filed, every investment, everything with 100% accuracy. All you have to do is say, I want the most money back, and they'll guarantee it. No waiting, wondering, or worrying. This is taxes. Get an expert now at TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live, full service. The real-time updates are only in the iOS mobile app. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. It's game day and it's segment 2. Let's crack a do. If you got one, crack one. If you're at home watching the game today, maybe it's a Miller, maybe it's a Coors. I don't roll that way. Can't roll that way. You guys know why. I'm so addicted to the Mountain Dew. Yep, I did it again. Oops, I did it again. I sung about the Mountain Dew. Raven, no worries, hon. I'm so addicted to the Mountain Dew when I'm drinking on it. I forgot the words I made up to that song the other day for the Mountain Dew. The game should not be on. I see people asking this question. I believe the game is on ESPN Plus, but it shouldn't be on ESPN Plus, is what I meant to say. Let me check, though. So the game is on ESPN Plus, yeah, of course, or satellite Sirius XM 138 or 198, it says there. Just a slap in the face, but what can you expect? It's an 7 versus 16. It is what it is, right? So we got to deal with it, guys. We are the redheaded stepchild of the Big 12, along with others, a couple others. So this is a big one. I think this is a game that Colorado comes into with a lot of confidence, guys. I mean, they do. Let's look at their last few games here. Let's go to Google and do this. Colorado basketball schedule. Okay. So they've won 13 games, so it's not like they're gangbusters or anything. But they have two straight wins over TCU. I guess they're just a bad matchup for them. So they've won two out of the last 3 games. That's not horrible, right? But let's look at the game against them that we played earlier this year. So we beat them by 8 on the road in a game that was actually pretty close for a lot of the game. In that game, that was a Javon Small special, and with Joseph Yesufu, he kind of won us that game late. I remember now, and we had a really hard time guarding somebody. I'll find out here in just a second. That's right, Julian Hammond III, the guard they have, 23 points and 4 rebounds. It's a really good game from him. And then Diop, the forward, had a nice game, 13, 5, and 2. Outside of that, Trevor Baskin, I do remember number 6 Baskin being an annoyance on the defensive end and then rebounding. He had 9 and 6. So those were the 3 guys that I saw during that game that were annoying to play against. West Virginia really needs to win this game, get to 20 wins, and improve that seeding, because I think, you're projected in as a 10 seed. Some say 9, some even saying 11, but I think you get to 20 and that eliminates that. I think you get to You win this game, I think you can easily get up to an 8 in the NCAA tournament, and then you're talking about, actually being the favorite for a game against the 9. That's what I think this team's goal should be, or even if maybe we get lucky and get a little bit better seeding, but I doubt it. We're going to be somewhere in that 8 to 10 line, which means we're going to be playing a number 1 seed in probably the round of 32, if not, definitely not the 16. It probably maybe round of 32. So it is what it is. I mean, we just have to hope it's not Houston or somebody we've already played a bunch already this year. So, or really Duke. I think there are matchups against number 1s where we could win, but not all of them. I think depending on who they make number 1 seeds is going to play a huge factor in this game. So I'll be super interested to see how that plays out. The team that we get people keep comparing us to, guys, is that 2013 UConn team with Shabazz Napier and Nasir Muhammad and a couple other guys that really made a run all the way to the national championship game because they had such a good guard. I don't know if Javon Small is quite Shabazz. I just being honest. I mean, he had some huge games in the tournament, multiple 30-point efforts. I think Javon Small is capable of that. I just wonder if he's got enough gas this late in the season, and that's going to be fun to see and check on. But I do think we can get to the round of 32, get 21, 22 wins on the year, which in this case would be 21. And that would be a really successful season. Then we just have to make sure we hold on to extend and pay Darren DeVries and say, hey, look, dude, here is $5 million or $6 million in NIL next year, plus full rev share or whatever. Maybe you can equal them both to that, but it's got to be a competitive amount to where he can say, in this conference, Texas Tech isn't getting, 5 or 6 more million to spend than me, right? Or it's got to be within $1 million or $2 million, in my opinion, of the top, because I think this staff is creative enough, especially in recruiting with our 3 McDonald's All-American candidates coming in, to really make an impact through just more than the portal. I think they've shown the ability with not Yesufu, but kind of Yesufu, because he was injured for a couple years and hadn't done much. Now look at him; he's playing really well down the stretch. But with Jonathan Powell and KJ Tenner, they have shown the ability to be able to develop freshmen, get them ready early, play them early, show confidence in them early, inject confidence into them early. All that stuff matters, and it's not something that you can just do as a coach. It's something you learn as a coach. So I think that's going to be fun to see next year with the 3 guys we have coming in, assuming we don't lose any of them, which is always possible. I'm here to say, but I mean, look, this staff is wonderful, and I hope we don't lose anybody. Would love to see some continuity in this day and age, because I think we could absolutely, look, in the portal era, you had a team in Boca Raton, Florida, of all places, make it to the Final Four. So it can happen. We just have to put the faith in this coaching staff and give them the money to be able to do it, so that we can either keep guys around for 4 years and add a piece here and there. Because I think if you can pay the guys on your roster, you can keep guys. It's just harder now, right? You're not going to keep everybody like you used to, but you can keep the most important ones year over year. And every now and again, you'll have 2 or 3 seniors that have been around for a couple years. But it's not going to be like it used to be, where you've got a senior-laden team. But I think, there's a new standard for that. If you've got a team that's got 2 or 3 seniors that's played together for a couple years, that's pretty damn good in this day and age. College teams 20 years ago with senior-laden teams would absolutely destroy teams today. I believe that. And it's not talent. It's literally because of how good of teams they were. I think the overall talent in basketball is better, but I think the overall teamwork, our 2010 Final Four team would absolutely smash a bunch of these teams this year, and I think could win a national championship in this day and age. So that's just my opinion. But, basketball has gotten better, but also worse. It's kind of weird. Let's go to a quick break, guys, and on the other side of the break, I'll tell you why West Virginia should be really careful today, and I'll make a prediction on the game. Stick around. Locked On West Virginia will be right back. And the reason you should also stick around is to hear about Factor Meals. Looking to optimize your nutrition this year? Well, Factor makes eating well easy, and I know about eating well. With chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, I don't know about that, meals that are fresh, never frozen, and ready to eat and heat in just 2 minutes. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences each week, you can customize your meals to fit your lifestyle. Seriously. Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto. Factor even offers wholesome smoothies, breakfasts, and grab-and-go snacks that keep you fueled all day long. I like how Factor takes the stress out of meal planning and meal prep. I recently tried their Protein Plus meals, and they were packed with flavor and kept me full throughout the day. The convenience is really unbeatable. There's no prep, no mess, just great food in minutes. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/LockedOnCollege50 off and use code LockedOnCollege50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code LockedOnCollege50 off. LockedOnCollege50 off at factormeals.com/LockedOnCollege50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. And we are back here in Locked On West Virginia in segment 3, guys, talking a little bit of West Virginia everything. So we talked about it earlier. The West Virginia Mountaineers have lost a couple big losses today. We don't need a third loss to happen. And I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll talk about that here in just a minute. Obviously, Blaine Stewart is a huge loss to the program. There's no other way to state it. But he wanted, for those of you who weren't here during my segment, I've been told that he wants to forge his own path, and that since Rich Rod has come back, he, for better or for worse, feels like the shadow from his dad has just gotten a little bit bigger, right? And really wants to forge that own path. And it makes total sense to me. I get that. So he's going to go to the NFL to do it, and God bless him. Hopefully he does well. But it's a big loss. You're paying an inside receivers coach over $200,000, and now you got to replace him. Who are you going to bring up this late in the process? Hopefully there's somebody out there. Ryan Switzer. Would love to see that guy come. And then obviously Aiden Buchanan did North Carolina, huge loss as well. Just is. Let me get a swig really quick here. Okay, so here are my keys to the game. I think West Virginia needs to obviously win the rebounding margin because they're undefeated when they do that. That's just the way things are. In the game against Colorado last time, they got dominated in the rebounding margin. So that's going to be something to watch. Colorado beat us in assists. They beat us in blocks. They beat us in turnovers. So the fouls we had more than. So we were sloppy in that game. We still won the game by 8 because Javon Small and also Yesufu. But, we had Powell with 10. Andre had 12. That was pretty good to have 4 guys in double figures. But I think in this game, I think we need Amani Hansberry to keep – he had a bad game against them too. We need Amani Hansberry to keep doing what he's been doing, hitting big shots and playing big, because I think he's really – if of all the guys, if he's playing second to Javon, I think that's when we're at our best in the pick and pop scenario. And then you got Powell on the wing. That's really how I think we are best, with O'Connie playing solid defense and Harris playing solid defense and Yesufu coming in off the bench, spelling Javon, giving us great minutes. That's when we're at our best. So I think West Virginia needs to win the rebounding margin. I think we need to win the turnover battle. And I think we need a big game from Amani Hansberry because we're going to get one from Javon. If we do all 3 things, I think West Virginia wins this game. I do think that Colorado can make this interesting on a neutral court, but I think West Virginia is going to be rested. They're going to be motivated, and Darren DeVries is too good of a coach to let West Virginia lose this game. So that's where we're at. And I think Sincere Harris needs to keep his defensive efforts up, and I think he will. That's it. I think West Virginia wins this game by 10 or more. I really do. I think they're going to show out today. You know, Colorado could make it close, but I do think that West Virginia is going to, you know, this will be 4 out of 5 if they win this game going into Houston, and then who knows what can happen. You pull that upset off, you know, against the next team. Don't look past Colorado. But if we do get the luxury to play Houston, you're playing with house money, the best possible scenario. Let's see if the Mountaineers can get that done, guys. Thanks for watching, guys. Always, please hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. And by the way, follow me on X and Discord. And we got a lot going on there. If you don't know, like I haven't said this in a while, but like whenever we broke the Pat White news, we were lucky enough to break that here, or whenever we broke, but some other news, whether it was Bosley or whatever, we mentioned that other places before we went live. So if you want to know what I know before I talk about it, sometimes I do that on Discord. Sometimes I do that on X. Follow me those places, guys. At Paul Mountaineer on X, at Paul Mountaineer. And on my Discord, if you follow me on X or send me a message, or somebody in this chat can absolutely put a Discord link in, and we'll see you then, guys. Have a great one. Locked On College Basketball, Andy Shade, Isaac Patton. Do it bigger than anybody else, and it's March. Why wouldn't you be following them? Go check them out on Locked On College Basketball. I'll see you guys on the next one, and let's have a great day today. I'll see you after the Colorado game. I'll be here to talk about it. Let's go Mountaineers, and I'll see you after the game. I'm out.